about today, which is exercise and the benefits of exercise. Tonight there's going to be a jazz program put on, and they're going to stream that live as well. And then tomorrow, of course, is the closing day of the celebrations, and I believe it's the actual day of the anniversary is tomorrow. So check things out. It seems like the town is pretty hopping this weekend, and check things out. Be safe while you're doing it. What else is in the news today? Well, we have an emergency approval for the Chinese COVID vaccine. It has been used in other countries, such as Brazil and in Chile, and they're reporting about a 50 to 54% effectivity rate of that vaccine. Also, check out some of Al Stefanelli's posts on the current information on COVID and the vaccine status. He did post last night another link for Down in David to sign up for the vaccine, even if you've already signed up. I heard that, not from any official source, but around by ear, that you should probably sign up here too, because it's for all of Chiriquí. So look for the link on any of the Boquete sites or on Al Stefanelli's personal wall and sign up for your vaccine. Which one it'll be, I have no idea. But it's important to get as many vaccinated as possible so we can get back to living our lives. And I'm here today with Mike Hill. He is a fisheries biologist. Well, in your past life, right?
In my past life.
So how you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing well, thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on. The reason that we decided to set this up in the first place is because we got to talking. We have a mutual interest, which is softball.
Indeed.
And I used to play all the time growing up, just avid player, and watching baseball on TV, so I followed a lot of baseball, and it was just like my life. That's what I ate, slept, everything for I don't know how many years. And you were looking, I saw you asking on a post of someone that was offering some old materials if they had any chain link fence. And I said, oh, I've got some chain link fence. And it was for fixing up the girls' softball field here in Boquete.
In Alto Boquete, yeah. Right next to San Francisco Plaza, there's the big field, and then next to it is a small, not very good, but a small softball field that the local Panama Princess League team, the Power Girls, has been practicing on. And the infield's rough, lots of rocks, lots of bad hops. I paid once to have a guy come by and weed eat it, and that made a big difference because they weren't playing all the scratchy weeds and stuff.
Right.
But there's a backstop behind it, and the only part that exists are the posts that would support
yeah. Where the backstop would have been.
Would have been. So
yeah.
When the ball goes past the catcher or a throw gets away, it goes down into a gully, and we have to chase it down there.
Yeah, that makes practicing difficult and playing games difficult. Okay, so I heard somewhere about this league at one point, and I didn't even realize that you were involved in the league until we were talking when I offered you my leftover fencing. That you were involved with this league, and I just wanted to hear a little bit more about it. How long have you been volunteering with the league? Is it a recent startup, or is it an older thing that was already in existence?
Well, it was already in existence when I got into it, and I heard about it on a show with Al Stefanelli when Katia, the coach, or the wife of the coach, and Kathy, if you're listening, I apologize for not knowing your last name, but she was talking about it, so I said I'd like to get involved, and so we talked, and it's difficult for me because of the language barrier. My Spanish is not as good as it could be, but we make it work, and so I've been practicing with them since late 2019.
Okay.
And then, of course, when COVID hit, everything stopped, so we haven't got back together, but kids are great, anywhere from, I'm thinking, 7, 8 years old up to 16.
Okay. And this is exclusively a girls' league? I mean, Princess League sounds like it's a girls' league, obviously.
It is a girls' league, although I do wear my my Power Girls shirt. without
Oh,
any problem.
okay. Yeah, of course. Go team.
Exactly.
So this is a girls' league. I assume there's more than one team in the area.
There are. Many of the girls from this team apparently come from Delega and Boquete and other areas. And I think the only game I saw was a scrimmage where they played a team, I think, from David.
Okay.
I had a lot of fun with that.
Okay, so is it pretty well organized then?
Well, it seems to be, but it's been a year now, so
Yeah.
hopefully they'll be coming back up soon.
And it's interesting because here in Panama, for a very long time, girls were never encouraged to get involved in sports, play organized sports, do anything really athletic. It's kind of a cultural thing. When I was in medical school, we did have girls' leagues for playing soccer and that kind of thing. But it was just kind of picking up steam when I was in medical school. So, it's kind of new to have girls getting involved, and I know probably all along there's been a lot of girls that wish they could play, but it seemed to be more male dominated. So they're finding out that it's great for any child to be involved in athletics, especially team sports, because it's good for psychological development, social development, as well as just developing healthy habits. And I think that's a little bit what we're going to talk about today as well, is the benefits of not only organized team sports, but just any physical activity,
Right.
which we haven't been able to do a lot of recently.
No, we have not. Although you can find ways to do it, if you think about it. So if I may expand upon mine, so
Be my guest.
it was because I've had a lot of people in the community comment about this, and I'm flattered, I'm thrilled, and I love the comments I've heard. But I topped out about 318 pounds last year, and when the quarantine took effect, we were in our houses, we couldn't do anything. Luckily, I live in a house in Los Molinos, and it's got a big yard. So I measured the perimeter of the yard, and I could get in 1/8 of a mile by walking or running. So I just decided it was time to get off my rear and do something. I could either sit and eat and drink and watch TV, or I could do something. So just started running. I ran 1 mile the first day, and then I ran 1 mile and 1/8, and each day I added a little bit, took a day off. Got up to where I was running 3 to 3.5 miles in my backyard.
That's a lot of laps.
That was a lot of laps. There was quite the track in my backyard. And the dog would run with me for about 100 yards. And then he'd say, it's too hot, and he'd go sit in the shade. But once we got to where we could exercise within 1 mile or 1 kilometer, whatever it was, of the house, I started running around Los Molinos, and I could do 1 mile and it was 3/4 of a mile up and back, so 1.5 miles for 1 lap, going uphill, then downhill, uphill, then downhill. And then I expanded to go around. Anyway, I got to where, up until recently, I was running 8 miles a day.
Wow, great.
From Gago Brothers down to Los Molinos, and doing that 4, 5, 6 times a week sometimes. And I noticed my time was getting faster. There's an app that I have called Map My Run, which shows how fast you're going. And so my fastest mile, I'm going to brag for a minute, my fastest mile in high school, despite my size, was 5 minutes and 32 seconds.
Wow, that's fast.
I was very pleased with that. Recently, my fastest time, now 45-ish years later, was 7:20. So it's getting better.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I mean, I could probably do 1 mile in 10 minutes.
Well, that's where I started. I was doing a 14-minute mile when I started.
Yeah.
I cut that in half. But the nice thing is my weight went from 318 down to 214.
Wow.
And it was
over a year.
In 7 months. I dropped
Excellent.
100 and something pounds. And now some of it has come back on. I've had to go back to the States to do a few things, and I couldn't eat properly where I was or exercise. But I'm getting it back off. So.
Now, not everybody had that opportunity to have a big yard to be able to go for walks and that kind of thing. I did see in my own neighborhood, you could get out for your 2 hours a day towards the end, you could take your dog around the neighborhood, not more than 1 kilometer from your house, something like that. So we would go walking around our neighborhood with the dogs, and we'd see people in their yards actually, doing the same type of thing, forming a little track around their house, walking, with weights in their hands, and, just doing something, because sitting around your house is not conducive to good health.
Exactly the term I was going to use. But there are things that you can do, and I do not want to be preachy, because everybody will get around to doing when they're ready. But,
Yeah.
But there are things you can do. I started during this time also doing push-ups, to where I was doing, again I'm bragging, but 200 push-ups a day. And you can
The Marine style where you touch your nose to the ground?
as far down as I could get, let's put it that way. And then I did the decline where my feet were up.
Yeah.
And just mixing it up. So I was doing push-ups, a couple of 5-gallon water bottles. They're full. That's 45 pounds. So that's 90 pounds total. Doing squats or deadlifts with those.
Ooh.
You can do.
How do your knees feel?
My knees are fine. I'm very happy about that. Well, actually, the left one's a little bit sore. Maybe you can take a look at that and we can multitask.
There you go. There you go.
No, that one I think I tweaked when I was back in California. But knees are good. Back is good. I installed a pull-up bar.
Okay.
Because I hadn't done a pull-up since I was 6, and I finally got to where I can now do pull-ups, and that is a huge accomplishment for me.
Yeah.
Because I was just never able to do it. And pull-ups are
They're difficult.
nasty, yes.
But they help you. I mean, if you fall out of a boat, how are you going to get into the boat? It's by using that movement for pull-ups, basically. So you have to maintain that good upper body strength as well as a core strength. But just for everyday people, I mean, we live in an area with a lot of people that are retired or elderly, and let's face it, the walking around on sidewalks here, you need to have good balance, good core strength, to avoid accidents. I've seen so many people fall down, break a leg, break a hip. The area doesn't have a whole lot of paved walking paths.
Right.
It's either dirt or rock and dirt, and the sidewalks are, I don't know if you can classify them as sidewalks.
But that's part of the reason why when I run from Goggle Brothers home, I always run on the side heading north. So I'm always running downhill, which is much easier. But second, there's a good sidewalk there. And then once I hit just at Yvonne, Yvonne, there's no longer sidewalk, but it's a 4-foot wide shoulder, and it is a good flat level area that there's not any broken chunks of concrete.
Right.
There's not that kind of stuff where you're going to twist an angle or something.
Right, which is really important.
Right. I have fallen twice, but each of those was when I was clumsy or when I hit a little bit of gravel and I was trying to turn too fast, and so the wheel spun out.
Yeah, exactly. That happens. That happens when you just walk down the street, not even when you're jogging, but when you walk down the street, you hit a pebble wrong and.
Yeah, but in a year of running, 2 falls, I'll take that. So.
No, that's not bad. I'm more of a cyclist. I prefer cycling, and I haven't done it very often lately. But before COVID, we would go, ride down to Plaza San Francisco from Alto Boquete up here, down to Plaza San Francisco, and then take the back road up, which is like a dirt road. So there's a little bit of mountain biking involved. And we managed to get our time down pretty low. We'd started out, it took about 45 minutes, got down to like 20 minutes. So, you do have to start slowly, though. Otherwise, you're going to defeat your own purpose. If you're hurting, if you're very uncomfortable after doing a hard workout, you're probably not going to go and return to doing more activity because it hurts too much.
Exactly. So, starting slow, a little bit of ibuprofen helps too. Yeah, starting slow. And I made a mistake when a few months ago I had to go to California for 2 months, came back, and I immediately ran 8 miles, and that hurt. So
I'm sure it hurt for a couple of days.
It did.
Yeah.
Delayed onset muscle soreness.
Yeah. A good way to get tendonitis in your knee or somewhere in your body too.
Yeah, so we don't do that. So I don't do that now. I came back from the States 2-3 weeks ago now, and I'm running 5 a day, and I'm starting to build it back up to where I will get to that 8 in a week or two.
I noticed there's a lot of people that try to do cycling and running with a mask on. How do you handle that? Because I don't think that would be very easy, and I don't even think that it's recommended.
It is tough. I typically, because I'm outside, I don't wear the mask when I'm running, but I keep one in my pocket.
Right.
And when I do go near people, I always try to pass it at least 6 to 7 feet between us. When I get to the checkpoint, as I'm coming up to Dorado Plus, I pull the mask out, put it on my face, go through the checkpoint. I always say hi to the cops.
Yeah.
I even invite them to run with me once in a while, and we laugh about that. And once I get past the checkpoint, I pop it back off and put it back in my pocket.
Yeah, the cops here aren't bad people. I mean, I was going down past Plaza, well, the high school on the bicycle, and there was a cop station there. He was, doing the speed gun, and he clocked us going down, and he said, it's okay. So they're not bad people.
One of these days, I'm going to ask him to tell me how fast I'm going, and he'll probably go maybe 6, 7 miles an hour.
Yeah, you should get clocked too. I don't know where Bolivar went, but I got a message that said there's almost no audio. Let me get closer to the microphone and ask if they can hear me now. Can you hear us now?
Clunk, clunk, clunk.
He says better now. Okay. By the way, that's my dad. Hi, Dad. I'm glad you're listening in. Do you have any questions for my guest, Mike Hill? So I understand that you would like to give a shout out to the Princess League too?
Absolutely, because Katia and her husband Julio, I believe, I hope I got the name right again, good people, and they've taken me on without any hesitation about letting me coach. So I'll catch for some of the pitchers. Sometimes I will badly pitch to the girls because I don't pitch under. I can pitch slow pitch, but not fast pitch.
Right.
But this has been a wonderful thing for me too, because Katia told all the girls that Mike is new, his Spanish is bad, so talk to him in Spanish and make him learn.
Oh, there you go.
And that was really cool. And I talked to the gals, and they were a little bit not sure at first. But I've been accepted, I believe.
Okay.
And so what I would like to do too, to help give back a little bit to this community, that's why I asked about the chain link fence.
Right.
If anybody has any extra chain link fence, or say 2x12 boards they're at least 10 feet long, and they would like to donate them, I would love to get them so that I can build up that backstop.
Right.
So we can practice, because it's risky for
You have to make it safe for everybody, one, and two, you want to have a nice place for the kids.
Exactly.
Because as we know, sports builds up self-esteem, it keeps your body healthy, it instills teamwork, good habits, and keeps kids out of trouble.
Yeah, and the teamwork is a huge aspect, because when you think about it, you think about baseball or softball being, there's a guy up there who's trying to hit the ball. One person. Well, realistically, it's a huge team sport, because let's say there's a grounder to short. There's three people, actually 4, who are involved in that. The pitcher, who throws it, the catcher, who's going to catch it if the ball's not hit. It's grounded to the shortstop, who has to catch it and throw it to first base.
Maybe third, maybe home, depending on the outs.
Exactly.
Situation.
And the other kids are telling them where to throw the ball, especially if there's a base hit to the outfield. So you can have 5, 6, 7, 8, the whole team trying to work together for their sole purpose of getting the batter or a base runner out. And then you have the other team who's got the batter who's hitting the ball, who's got the coach, and the other team, the rest of their teammates cheering for him. So,
giving him, yeah.
And I have seen these girls just get on each other so supportively, and just they're rooting for each other. There's never any you suck kind of stuff.
So you got to spend some time with them. Did you see changes in their self-esteem, changes in their ability to work together and all that?
Well, my time with them was short because of the COVID.
Right.
But,
Unfortunately.
But I saw an improvement in confidence. There's one catcher who wasn't very good at catching the ball, but she got better. I
Mm-hmm.
could see that, and watching some of the gals hit and see the confidence come up in there, and plus I brought back a good bat from the States.
Yeah.
So, which made him hit the ball a little farther. But yeah, I saw a lot of companionship and camaraderie. I can't say I saw a tremendous amount of improvement, but I saw some.
I know we're not quite at the point where they're doing team sport. Oh, well, I think I see the boys out practicing baseball down in David, so I'm not sure when the Princess League is going to think about, starting up again. I don't know what the current rules are either.
Yeah.
But once they do, and I assume that you're going to get involved again,
I hope to.
are they accepting donations for equipment, mitts and balls and bats and protective equipment, protective gear?
I am certain they would, because we donated a brand new set of catcher's gear.
And that's not cheap, and it's
Couple
hard to
$100
find here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, they also reimbursed me for part of it, but
Mhm.
but yeah, they will take donations for it, I am certain. And if somebody wants to, they can call me, and I can get it to Kathy, or I can give them Kathy's phone number.
Okay. And they can find you online, or you can.
If my Panama number is 64472920,
Okay.
and that's WhatsApp or regular calls. My American phone number 805-252-4389, also WhatsApp.
Hmm.
And Facebook, I'm on Facebook, so.
Okay, yeah, look him up on Facebook. You have his numbers, and I'll put those numbers out when the show is over, and I post about the show today. I'll get your number. Well, I have your number. I'll post your number for that purpose,
Okay.
with your permission, of course.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Please don't give him any crank calls. Please don't ask him for money. This is specifically designated for helping the girls' league.
Exactly.
Our local team, because it is really important, and the kids have been locked up for so long. They haven't been back to classes yet. No in-person classes. They've been working online, which is not the same thing. Most of them haven't been able to see their friends. They haven't been able to go out and play. There was no organized sports or any kind of thing going on, really.
Right.
So, we're hoping that all this is going to start opening up again, and these girls are going to need equipment, uniforms, and that kind of thing. So if anybody even wants to volunteer to help out, be a team mom or a team dad, also, I'm sure they wouldn't.
I suspect I can't speak for them, but I suspect that wouldn't be a problem.
That wouldn't be a problem, exactly. Or if you have coaching skills or whatever and can help, pitchers or catchers or first baseman, because each position has its own
Oh, yeah.
training. It's not, you practice as a team, but you also practice individually.
And there are those of us who are better at some positions.
Mhm.
So it's like, for example, I can play first, third, catcher, or the outfield pretty well. Stick me at shortstop, there's going to be a lot of errors. But
Shortstop is tough.
it is.
It's one of the more difficult positions, and it's
Right.
probably one of the most important positions.
Absolutely.
So anybody that gets that shortstop position,
Mhm.
pressure's on.
Yeah, I have played it, and I have played it poorly. but
Yeah.
But yeah. So there are positions that require different skills,
Mhm.
and it's a lot easier, for example, to be. Well, let me rephrase it. It seems easier to be a catcher than it
You would
does say-
think, but it's not.
It's not.
It's
Yeah.
not. I mean, it's hard to trap that ball. It's hard to get the crazy pitches that are out of the zone. Stopping it with your body, and then stopping a runner when they're sliding into home. I mean, you're not stopping them, but you're putting yourself in their path.
Yeah, I've done that playing softball, and I have the scars to show for it.
Yeah, exactly. I've gotten line drives hit to me in the stomach. I pitched. So I've gotten line drives to the stomach and that kind of thing. It'll knock the wind out of you.
No, it did absolutely well. I got this was 30 years ago, but I got a base hit when I hit a bullet that hit the pitcher in the thigh and rolled about 4 feet away, and he just collapsed.
Yes, it hurts. It hurts.
But
You get beaten by a pitch or even a foul tip off the bat. That hurts.
Mhm. Exactly.
And but you shake it off and you learn to deal with it.
Mhm.
It knocks the wind out of you for a second. They give you a minute to recuperate, and then right back on the horse.
It takes longer for us to shake it off now that we're a little bit.
Yeah. Any word on starting an adult league?
It's something I have checked into, and again, last year was a mulligan. So
Yeah.
I would like to try to start something once the rainy season ends.
Cool.
It's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
I do know a few people who've expressed interest. Yourself, my Spanish instructor Lisca, some other people around here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would like to do that, and we could play on this little field down here, or other places. I just have to figure out how to get all the ducks in a row.
Yeah. Well, if we need to, I got pretty good Spanish skills too, and we can go talk to whoever it is that we need to talk to and see about a field and that kind of thing. I know there's like public fields in Los Naranjos. They have the gym. I think there's a field next to that too.
There's a huge field next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd love to play there.
Yeah.
It's a nice stadium, and I've only seen it from the outside, but I stop every once in a while and look at it, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So it'd be fun.
So we just have to figure out who runs over there, but that's all in time. Right now, we got to figure out how to get us out of this mess that's called COVID right now.
Exactly.
And the vaccines are coming soon, and they've applied almost 500,000 doses.
Wow.
So we're a country of about 4.5. The last time they did the census, I believe, around that 4.5 million. So they're just beginning, but we're number one in our area for our population of the amount of vaccines that we have given. We're above Costa Rica, we're above Colombia. We've given more per 100,000 than any other in our region. So we're doing not so bad.
That's awesome.
We're doing not so bad. Now, distribution is tough, especially to the areas in the mountains, and the hard to reach areas are going to be the challenge.
Now, is there a cost for the vaccination?
No, the vaccine is free.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all the vaccines in Panama are free. You can go to the health center, you can go to the Social Security right here in town, get your tetanus, get your flu shot. It's all free. You don't have to pay for it.
Do they take donations for it?
No. It's part of the program. It's part of the vaccination program. We have a very good national vaccination program here in Panama. Wow. They have nurses the entire teams that only do vaccinations. They send them out to the schools. They send them out to hard to reach areas to apply the vaccines. So Panama has one of the best vaccination programs I've seen.
That is pretty amazing.
The kids get their vaccines from babies all the way up. I've rarely had a local parent come to me and say their kid doesn't have all their vaccines up to date, unless they won't give them a certain one because the child was sick that day or something like that. But excellent vaccination program, and even for foreigners, the vaccines are free.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, you should, if you have your vaccination card, you should bring it with you. Otherwise, they're going to suggest that you get a bunch of them at once. So if you have your other ones current, I actually updated mine. The MMR and that kind of thing, because we were having outbreaks close by of those things, the measles, mumps, rubella, and I went ahead and got boosters from most of my vaccines. So some of you might want to consider, especially if you're traveling a lot, you might want to consider getting your vaccines, your boosters to your vaccines, and they'll do it all there.
Very good idea.
Yeah.
It's been a while for me since, I'm probably due for a tetanus soon.
Yeah, tetanus every 10 years. You can get it a couple of years early if you have an injury of some type that might predispose you to getting tetanus, such as a dog bite, cat scratch. Any kind of bite. Yeah, but the tetanus doesn't live in the metal. It lives in the soil.
Okay. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so any deep cut or anything, you can get tetanus, which is why if somebody comes to me and they cut themselves with a machete, it's not because it was a machete and it's metal and it was probably rusty. It's because it allows dirt and germs to enter, and the tetanus lives in the soil. Yeah, so it really gives me a heart attack when they come in and they've packed the wound with coffee grounds or something from the fields. One, it's extremely difficult to get all that stuff out of a deep cut and then sew them up. But also because, if they could all of the germs and bacteria in there.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Well, when you're that far out, when you have to
Yeah.
travel 4 hours to get to a doctor to be able to sew you up, and you have to stop the bleeding, that's how they stop the bleeding. They
I would-
pack the wound.
I would have thought just a big banana leaf or something on it and compression, but
It,
yeah, but that's
it's just what they learned.
yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
okay.
I know. I don't know. All I think is like gangrene and.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So as far as sports safety, you want to have all the protective gear. You want to have proper instruction. It's not something you just want to go and start on your own normally. If you're, let's say 40s and above, you should probably get a physical before you start any
Right.
type of strenuous type of exercise. To make sure your blood pressure is good. You don't want to go out there and raise up your blood pressure even more and have a heart attack.
That would be bad. Yes, agreed.
So you probably should, before you start an exercise program, get checked out.
And of course, stretching beforehand whenever you do it, all that good, and afterward.
So we were also, I was looking, and I'll also mentioned it, that you like to study snakes.
I have an interest. I have a few interests. One is fishing. One is snakes and other reptiles. Yeah. So I was hearing Al's show yesterday with Jim Cavney on it, and that was pretty enlightening. And it's funny because just 2 days ago I found two different snakes. Both unfortunately were dead on the road, but
Yeah.
one was up by the waterfall trail on the road. It was a checkered coffee snake.
Huh.
First snake I ever saw in Panama was a little rainbow boa. The second was a coffee snake, and I figured it had to be caffeinated because it was so damn quick. But this guy was not very fast. He was dead. And then down here, right a couple miles south of us, we're at here in Alto Boquete, was about a 2.5 foot long boa that was upside down dead on the side of the road.
Oh.
This is the time of the year when they have been coming out.
Yeah.
I've
Looking for water and
well,
food.
looking for food primarily. Plus, it's starting mating season for many species.
Uh-huh.
In California, April and May are the month of snakes. That's when they come out. The gopher snakes, the garter snakes, all that, looking for mates. And I think it's pretty close here as well.
Okay.
I'm not an expert.
So this is
on
prime
that,
season probably around here as well.
but there are lots of snakes out here that are very cool to look at.
Don't touch.
Please, if you don't know what it is, don't mess with it. Take 3 steps back. Jim Cavney yesterday was talking about a musarana, which is a type of snake that'll get up to about 8 feet long.
Wow.
It's a constrictor, but it's also rear-fanged. It's mildly venomous, not medically significant to humans.
But if it's rear fang, then it's harder for them to.
It can still get you.
Yeah.
But luckily, this snake has a mild temperament. But the benefit to this snake is that they eat others when they are particularly fond of fertile ants.
Oh, good. And those are the most dangerous snakes that I know of around here, except I guess there's some other deadly snakes, but those are the ones that you worry about the most around your housing areas is the fertile ants.
Correct, and that's because they are so widely distributed. They are, everywhere, ubiquitous in Panama, and they.
And you'll see gardeners, grown men, screaming and running off when they see one.
Oh right, yeah. Well, to many people, every snake here is a fertile ant, which is so
Yeah.
true. But
No, there's plenty of innocuous snakes. Yeah.
but
Such as the boa. Well, you don't want it constricting you, but
yeah,
they
well,
won't do that normally.
No, it would be. They don't think of us as food.
Yeah.
When they look at us, we are a predator to them. So as long as we leave them alone, they're gonna leave
Yeah.
us alone. Yeah. And they don't jump up and chase you.
No.
The thing about a fertile ant.
They're
is
not like the pythons and stuff.
They're not like the movie Anaconda.
Oh, well, anaconda, yeah.
Yeah, which we don't have in Panama. But the thing about the fertile ants that makes it so dangerous is not only its distribution, but it is aggressively defensive.
Yeah.
So he'll sit there and let
And
you
the
walk
bites are
by.
nasty. Nasty.
Yeah, their bite actually destroys tissue and
And brain. It's neurological as well as cellular, yeah.
exactly. So they have a particularly nasty bite. Coral snakes, on the other hand, which are the typically multicolored, and
And there's no rule anymore about determining.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go there. Do not go with red touch yellow and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
it doesn't apply in this country necessarily.
Correct, because there's several species, and some of them have red touch black, others have red touch yellow, and several non-venomous snakes have the same red touch yellow. So, if
Look, don't touch.
if you don't know what it is, don't mess with it. Call me. I'll come. Or Jim Cavney said.
Yeah,
just
don't
say,
kill
"Yes,
them. Don't kill them unless it's an immediate danger to yourself or to your pet.
Yeah.
Don't kill them.
So,
There's no reason to kill a snake.
If you can, call somebody and have them come relocate it.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
the-
Don't try to catch it yourself if
Right.
you're.
And even the bomberos will come do that for you.
They will.
Yeah.
They will.
So,
And we have so many interesting species. I saw a snake walking over past Lucero.
mhm.
I thought it was a tree snake, because tree snakes are typically those really long, really skinny
Right.
snakes, and obviously they're not going to bite you because their heads are so tiny. At least the ones I've seen.
Mhm.
I'm sure they get bigger. But I'd never seen it was kind of like a bright yellow color. Very long, very skinny, in the middle of the path.
Bright yellow or bright green?
Not bright green. It was kind of like a bright yellow, not a neon yellow, but not like this type of a yellow. But it was a yellow color, and I don't know if it was just trying to blend in with the dirt road, because I know they kind of blend too a little
Well,
bit.
they can't change their colors, like a chameleon.
Not like a chameleon, but
there are some snakes like an eyelash viper
Mhm.
have different color patterns.
right,
But if you saw something that's long and skinny, it's not dangerous to us.
right,
The exception being a coral,
right.
but
Because it was skinny. I mean, it was probably skinnier than my little finger.
right. And there's a cute little snake here called a blunt-headed tree snake,
Which
is about the diameter of a pencil. And it might be 3 feet long.
Yeah.
With a big head.
Yeah.
Just at the BCP a couple of weeks ago, we were moving out some tables, and I found this very cute little snake called a cloudy snail eater, and that's exactly what he eats, is snails.
And you can find a lot of those around here.
And they're all over the place. Yeah. It's just he happened to be, in the storage room at the new feria. Is that how you put-
Ferreteria.
the fairgrounds.
Oh, the fairground, the feria.
Feria.
Okay.
But yeah, so we knew what he was, picked him up, took him out, let him go. After showing people that no, he's not a fertilist, no, he's not a coral snake, no, and but the only reason I handle them is because I recognize them and I know that they're not venomous.
Right.
Because I used to play with rattlesnakes back in California.
Play with them?
I'd catch them and just hold them out, get pictures, let them go.
Okay.
You're
You're braver than me.
Well, there's a reason I tell this story. There's the most common bites of venomous snakes are called testosterone bites. They're typically from a male who's 18 to 26 and slightly intoxicated. So call them, you could say brave, you could say stupid. But I don't do that anymore. I have seen a couple sea snakes down in Petitee. I will not mess
Oh
with
yeah, no,
those.
no. I don't mess with any of those snakes that go through the water. They
No,
freak me out.
They would have a hard time biting you, but there's no antidote for the venom, and they're worse than the coral.
So what is, having a lot of experience with snakes, not me, I've seen them in the hospital, and we give our own treatments in the hospital. What is like a first aid if you're out walking, you don't see the snake, and you grab a stick or something and it gets you?
The first thing is to absolutely remain calm.
Right.
Do not apply a tourniquet, because a tourniquet will concentrate the venom in that area and do far more damage to the bite site.
Right.
You
It can kill the tissues,
you can lose a limb.
basically. Yeah.
So you stay calm, keep the bitten area lower than your heart.
Okay.
Okay. Have somebody drive you to the hospital. If you don't have somebody else, then get yourself to the hospital. Don't run home. Don't, just calmly go home, get your car, and
Yeah.
get in. Don't put
Try
ice-
not to get your heart rate up, in other words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't put ice on it, because that does the same, similar to the tourniquet. It retards the flow of blood and does more damage. Don't take a Red Bull or other energy drink. Don't drink alcohol, which dilates the
The blood vessels more,
Mhm, and
allows
let
it to
them
go,
spread.
yeah.
So the biggest thing is to stay calm and get your rear end to a hospital.
Don't try to apply any home remedies like vinegar, hot water, urine.
Or Benadryl. Benadryl does not work on snake bites. It's different from the venom is different from that of a mosquito or a bee sting.
So stay calm, basically get to a hospital. Very important to either try and get a picture if you can, or a description of the type or of the snake that bit. I mean, just because it bit you doesn't necessarily mean it's venomous.
It could be a dry bite too.
It could be a dry bite because they could have already fed or, bitten something else previously. I forgot to check the time. I was like, uh-oh.
I did too, yeah. I had a thought there about if you can get a picture of it, do not try to kill the snake, because what'll probably happen is you'll get bit again.
Yeah.
So don't try to kill a snake. My understanding is there's two types of antivenoms down here. One is for corals, and one is for everything else. So if it was, if it wasn't a coral snake, you'll get the other antivenom.
Right.
If it was a coral, it's unlikely that it bit you. Their mouths are not so small that they can't bite you, and all that kind of stuff. But
okay. Okay, great information. Tenemos una llamada. Ok. Vamos a escuchar la llamada.
Adelante, Maricet. Buenos días.
We have a call.
Buenos días, saludos a todos, bendiciones. Good morning, my friends.
Good morning.
Hoy está excelente dia. Good morning, excelente dia para provar as pizzas, pastas, carnes, pescados e postres deliciosos de pizzeria e restaurante brasileiríssimo. Estamos ubicados em la calle principal em Boquete, cerca del parque. El teléfono para delivery é 6546-5663. 6546-5663. Estamos abertos todos os dias, de 11 da manhã até as 10 da noite, para receber você e sua família e provar nossas delícias de Brasil.
Okay, so you heard it here first. Get your fresh hot pizza or chicken or fish from Pizzeria Brasileiríssimo on Main Street. They do deliveries. They're open until hasta las 10
11 to 10 p.m.
11 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can go in and order for takeout. You can sit in the restaurant and eat your meal there, or you can have it delivered fresh and hot to your house. And remember, it's a busy weekend in Boquete, so if you don't want to cook today and you don't want to go into town and deal with the crowds, have it delivered fresh and hot to your door.
And she has taken it down to me in Las Mojitas
Yes.
several times, and it is delicious.
It is. Gracias. Que tengan una buena tarde. So, now getting back to, I guess we were talking about snakes. So the first day of snakes. So it's important to, if you get bit, to remain calm, one. Not to apply any tourniquets, no ice, no home remedies. Don't raise the limb above your heart level, so the possible venom doesn't spread. Don't try to go after the snake and kill it. Don't chase it down if you didn't get a good look at it. Don't chase it down to try and get a good look at it. Get someone to take you to a hospital, or get yourself to a hospital to get it checked out. If you noticed that it is a coral snake or appears to be a coral snake, then report that to the doctor, because there's two different types of antivenoms that would be used. One is specifically for the coral snake. And I believe we get it from Costa Rica, the antivenoms.
I believe so, yeah.
I don't remember if they use cows or pigs
Used
or
to be
horses. Was it
Yeah.
horses? Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a big thing for a long time. Some people were more sensitive to the horse antibiotics.
Right.
So
Allergies
they would do a
and
test first before they administer it.
here they definitely administer it. If there's an allergy, they treat for the allergy. But obviously, between having an allergic reaction and dying from snake venom, you probably want to just have the allergy and have it treated. You're going to be in a hospital setting. They're going to be able to take care of any side effects from the antivenom. But I've seen some nasty bites, and they're usually fer-de-lance, and they usually are coming from the interior. It's almost always a young child or a young man. Sometimes it's a young female, because they go around without shoes and boots and that kind of thing. Usually just a pair of flip-flops.
Yeah.
And in the interior, they're pretty prevalent, and they go running through the jungle and get bitten on the ankle. And let me tell you, you do not want to get bit by one of these.
Right. But a good thing is that from a study that I read only a few months ago, the mortality rate of people bitten by fer-de-lance who receive antivenom is less than 1%.
Right.
So these aren't, we don't have two-steppers, as they call them, where the snake bites you, you take 2 steps, you're dead.
Right.
You have time to get to the hospital.
Right.
Do it soon, but
Don't freak out.
don't freak out. Right, but the untreated mortality rate from primarily this was found in Brazil and portions of Costa Rica, where people didn't have time or chose not to go to the doctor. The mortality rate for untreated bites was over 7%.
Oh, yeah. So that's pretty high. That's
Yeah,
pretty high.
That would be a significant risk, just to just say, oh, it's just a little thing, it's not going to hurt me, and then
Right.
yeah.
Time is definitely of the essence, but don't kill yourself getting there as fast as you can. Don't get in a car accident. What we do see is, the bitten limb tends to blow up like a balloon, turns red. Sometimes they have to surgically open the skin a little bit to allow the
Yeah.
swelling to go down. Usually they save the limb, they save the life, especially if you get there sooner than later. But those bites are pretty nasty.
Or the skin can blister, and I'm not going to go into
No, because it'll start to freak people out too.
So again, you see the snake, step backward, leave them alone.
Yeah.
Most people get bitten when they are, kind of like me, when they're playing with the snake.
Yeah.
So
Stay perfectly still. Just let it be. I had one when I was hiking in Volcan a few years back. A big Equis, a big fer-de-lance crossing our path. We were coming down from the mountain. I was up front. My husband and his son were behind me. And I just stopped dead still because there was a snake starting to cross the road. And I looked at his back and saw the typical X pattern. And I was like, everyone stop and be quiet.
yeah, in fact, what's really cool, and I'm just trying to pull this up, is that you can recognize the fer-de-lance not just from the X on top of his back, but the side of them. They have a pattern where it's a dark triangle, and the bottom of each corner of the triangle has a dot.
It has a dot,
So
yeah.
It's a triangle, dot, dot, triangle, dot, dot. It's a repetitive pattern.
Okay, if you happen to be close enough to see that.
Correct. Now this guy was dead,
Dead.
and he was on the road, and he was only about 18 inches long. But
Yeah.
these snakes can reach 8 feet.
Wow. Yeah, this was a big one that I saw too. I think it was a few feet long, 3 or 4 feet long.
Yeah. And that's plenty big enough to give you a nasty bite.
Yeah. Even the small ones, I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard the smaller ones, their venom is stronger because they're smaller and they have to. I don't know if it's true.
Not necessarily. Unlike some other animals, snakes manufacture venom all the time. The venom is actually modified saliva, but they are producing venom all the time. In rattlesnakes, my understanding is that the venom of a juvenile is slightly stronger.
Okay.
But that's because they tend to eat lizards, which are cold-blooded, and they have to track them down a little. They have to kill them.
Right. That's
Faster.
they need it. Okay.
But I would rather take a full bite from a small snake than a small bite from a big snake. Just
I'd rather
because
not
of
have a
volume.
bite.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but if you have to get bitten,
I
yeah.
prefer mosquito, if anything. But
You definitely hope the snake had been feeding beforehand, so it's just a dry bite or very little venom. But
Exactly,
yeah,
So-
who knows how what the percentages are that you'd get bitten by a dry bite or not. But definitely stay calm, get yourself to a hospital, and try to get a good description. I think we're about out of time. I enjoyed our time. I'm going to have you back on, and we'll talk about other stuff that is related to health and well-being and living here in Boquete.
if we have a second, if I'd like to throw out my phone number. again.
Sure, go ahead. Give it.
So for two things. One is for donations of softball stuff
Okay.
or building materials. Or if you have a snake, you can WhatsApp the photo and I'll identify it. 6447-2920. is the best one to get me at.
Okay. Is that the one I have stored? Okay, I'll put it online, and I'll post it to both the Boquete community group as well as Boquete News, as well as on my own wall. So if you have any donations for the softball team, or if you can donate time to help fix up the field, or just donate time to help coach or whatever, with permission, of course, of the coaches, then let Mike know. So I would like to thank Mike Hill for being my guest today. It was a great chat. I think we had an interesting discussion today.
Thank you for having me on.
You're very welcome. This has been Talking with Your Doctor, live on 103.